New Netflix docuseries about Sean Diddy Combs is making headlines for its never-before-seen footage of the music mogul in the days before his arrest. Now, Combs is threatening legal action against the streamer for airing the unauthorized footage. Behind the series is Combs' longtime rap rival 50 Cent and director Alexandria Stapleton, who sat down with NBC News' Chloe Malas ahead of tonight's release.
I'm gonna put her on blast because she was telling me, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to?
Gene Deal is back, and this time he's not holding back. He's coming with receipts. He says these are the exact pieces that never made it into 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, and the headlines surrounding it are already going crazy. We're talking about a mysterious $1 million check, deep insider stories, and a timeline about Tupac and Biggie that flips everything people thought they knew. You're hearing his side now because let's be real, Gene Deal is talking heavy. People are saying he's exposing footage that 50 Cent didn't want the world to see. So let's get straight into it. 50 Cent reportedly sold his Diddy documentary to Netflix for millions, and fans instantly expected one person to be front and center, Gene Deal.
You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another, and I was like, all right, well then, F you, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and goes out of this document.
Why? Because he wasn't just anybody. He was Diddy's bodyguard back in those explosive Bad Boy Records days, the heart of hip-hop's golden chaos. Gene was there for the moments that shaped music history. He wasn't some outsider trying to tell stories, he lived them. But when the Netflix series finally dropped, fans noticed something shocking. Gene Deal was nowhere to be found. No interviews, no clips, not even a shout-out, completely cut out. Now the word spreading across the internet is simple. His footage didn't make the cut, but people are whispering it wasn't just random editing. They say those conversations, recordings, and secret tapes held details that could either make you rich or make you vanish. So today, we're digging into what allegedly went wrong between Gene and 50, and what insiders believe got left buried in the editing room.
Wolf was not the gunman who killed Jake, and Mark Curry knows that to be true. You understand? And East Coast War was more like Helena of Troy. When Puff got mad at Suge for being out there and allowing Misa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family, he vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never fucking with her again, and I ain't never fucking with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead, so if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing a Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother, but had he killed my man or some shit like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done?
The trail points to one wild scenario, a day when people allegedly knew Tupac was about to get hit and no one stepped in. A $1 million check that Gene says he personally saw, possibly tied to that same night, and a Biggie timeline filled with ignored warnings, risky moves, and decisions that, depending on how you see it, may have paved the road straight into danger. Let's break this down. The whole rollout was hyped up like a massive expose, never before seen footage, secret behind-the-scenes clips, and a raw look into dark industry moments. It was pushed as something that would shake the culture, packed with drama, cover-ups, and crimes that were supposedly about to be revealed to the world. But when it finally hit Netflix, it turned out to be just a 4-part drop, and a lot of people said it felt cut short.
You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, Suge made Puff feel like, I'm gonna get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason he was mad at Puff, and Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge. It was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy and it was Death Row. It wasn't no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row.
And online chatter went wild. Fans swore the original version was supposed to go way deeper. The promo promised a no-limit series, something that would expose everything. Yet the final cut left viewers asking one big question: where's the real dirt? The loudest complaint online? The most important piece never made it in. So who exactly is Gene Deal in all this? He's not just another talking head. Gene was a bad boy bodyguard during one of hip-hop's most dangerous and defining eras, standing right beside the chaos of the East Coast versus West Coast beef.
And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I gotta get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the shit between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself, and got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them, and Zip hung up the phone on behind that.
But what you mean by Mark Curry? He know who killed Big J?
It was some Jamaican dude from the Bronx. He's dead now. The police ended up killing him at Magic City. I don't know his name, but Mark Curry know that it wasn't Wolf.
But when I was looking at the documentary, Kirk Burroughs, he did confirm that Big, he didn't want to go to LA, and they was actually getting warnings not to go to LA. But Diddy, he wanted to go, man.
My man, yeah, we must have had warnings, man. I didn't know. I knew that we shouldn't be out there in the first place.
He was close to what went down in Vegas when Tupac got shot, and near the LA scene when Biggie was killed. Whether people fully believe him or not, his name is forever linked to those moments that changed rap history. So the real question everyone's asking, why isn't Gene in the documentary? The answer floating around is simple, but messy: money and control. Early on, the producers wanted Gene's stories and footage bad, but once the director, Alex Stapleton, got involved, everything reportedly shifted. The story going around says 50 Cent didn't actually control the cash or the final cut. Decisions came from higher up. And when Gene saw the number they were offering, he felt straight up disrespected. We're talking about exclusive footage, first-hand stories, and scenes worth a fortune, but the offer felt like pocket change. That's where things fell apart, and Gene decided to walk away instead of getting played for cheap. But the money talk isn't the only reason people are heated. Another big topic blowing up online is what didn't make it into the documentary. Viewers are saying the missing parts are exactly what would have made the whole thing way messier, way riskier, and almost impossible to defend, especially when it comes to the legendary East Coast versus West Coast drama. Yeah, the doc touched it, but fans say it totally dodged the real story behind bodyguard Jake Wolf's death. According to what's being said, Jake's story was deeper than what we saw on screen. There's this claim floating around that Mark Curry actually knows who did it, and instead of leaning on the usual government conspiracy angle that people love to throw around, this version points to the streets. A Jamaican guy from the Bronx is allegedly the one behind it.
The whole incident of the Quad Studio shit. Like in the documentary, they was talking about that, right? You know what I'm saying? They talked about the Quad Studio shit. But they didn't mention the fact, and they left it out, that Big and C's did not know that Puff and Andre Harrell was in Jimmy Henchman's office the day Pac got killed. The day Pac got shot at Quad Studio. Let me repeat that again so it don't get mixed up in the whole thing. They did not mention that Andre Harrell and Puff Daddy and Jimmy Henchman were all all in the office together. Puff was on the office because he was trying to spy on Big them, because Big was writing the Junior Mafia stuff and Puff had his publishing. I told this to a couple of people before. I said it before, and you got people that's running with it like they knew the story in the whole 9 yards. You understand? They'll lie and you ask them, how do you know that? Who told you? They couldn't even tell you that. They'll tell you some lie, they did some kind of investigation, but it didn't happen like that. You understand? Puff was there to spy on Big because he had owned Big Publishing.
The story doesn't stop there. It gets darker. The word is that the same man was later killed by police at a club called Magic City. And that's exactly why fans say Netflix kept this part out. It's messy, it's violent, and it changes how people look at everything that happened back then. Even the famous East versus West label is getting called out as misleading. The online version of events claims it wasn't really about two coasts. It was Bad Boy Records versus Death Row Records. In that view, artists still showed love across state lines, still did collabs, still moved freely, but the real tension came from Diddy versus Suge Knight. That's what insiders are calling the real fuel behind all the smoke. And then there's the piece that everyone says was completely missing, the supposed peace attempt. Word is that Death Row tried to set up a meeting to squash the Tupac and Biggie situation once and for all, but Bad Boy never showed up. No rep, no phone call, nothing. If that's true, it wasn't just a missed meeting, it was a missed chance to stop the fire before it burned out of control. Now, to keep things clear, none of this proves any crime. What people are really stressing is the moral weight behind those choices. If peace was on the table and someone ignored it, that decision still means something huge, even if no one ever pulled a trigger. And now we're stepping into the part everyone calls explosive, a section full of accusations and public claims that haven't been confirmed, but keep shaking up the internet every time they resurface. The story making waves right now is wild. People are saying there was advance awareness about what was about to go down at Quad Studios. Someone supposedly close to the center of it all was right there, close enough to watch how the whole thing played out. The documentary does mention the infamous 1994 Quad Studio shooting where Tupac was shot 5 times. But insiders claim a major detail got quietly removed from the final cut.
And Big had turned around, and the same people who helped Puff get Big Publishing told Big to turn and put Tatiana or put somebody else's name on his publishing, or give it to Lil C's or whoever, this, that, and the third that he wrote for, so he can get the money from it. So that's how that went down. So they was there to spy on Big. In the interim of him being there to spy on Big, Jimmy Henchman told them that they finna show Pac, teach Pac a lesson, because Pac had owed him some money. So that's why he was up in the studio and was coming to the studio. Pac owed him some money. He was gonna work it off and get some money from doing a song with Lil Sean. And that's what that was about. But Pac was talking greasy to Jimmy Henchman, and Jimmy Henchman wasn't the type of dude that you talk greasy to, allegedly. Unless you're 50 Cent.
So Diddy knew what was going to happen to Pac.
He knew Pac was about to deal well. Yeah, he was there to see it. He was there to see it. He wasn't only there to see Big them. When Jimmy Henchman told him that, he was there to see what's going to happen to Pac. He was there for that. Because had he not been there for that, he would have went up there in the office. He would have went to the studio or the studio session with Big them. He would have went to that studio session with Big them. He knew what room Big them was in. He didn't do that. He was there to see what was going to happen to Pac after Jimmy told him. And that's factual.
According to what's being said, Diddy, Andre Harrell, and Jimmy Henchman were all together in Jimmy's office that same day. And here's where things start to sound suspicious. Biggie and his crew reportedly didn't even know Diddy was in that office. He was supposed to head upstairs to Biggie's session with Junior MAF, handling business as usual, but instead he stayed behind, keeping tabs on everything going down in that room. Now the question people can't stop asking, why was Diddy tracking his own artists like that? The explanation floating around is all about money and leverage. Allegedly, Biggie's publishing was under tight control, and he was trying to find a way to break free. The advice in this version of the story? Move the publishing under someone else's name, maybe his wife's, maybe Lil Cease's, so the money flow changes and the control shifts. So picture this, Diddy's sitting in that office, keeping a close eye on Biggie's business moves, while in that same room, a whole plan starts taking shape. People say it was about teaching Pac a lesson, a move tied to a personal debt and a studio visit meant to settle it. The story even links it to a track involving Lil Sean, adding another layer to the drama. Then the tone flips hard. disrespect gets thrown into the mix, and the room's energy turns dangerous. And that's the kind of setup that never ends quietly. The claim being pushed is serious. There was awareness, and it came from the fact that the plan was spoken out loud in that office. Now here's the logic that's driving people crazy. If nobody supposedly knew what was coming, then why didn't Diddy just go upstairs to Biggie's session? Why stay behind right when everything's about to go down? In this version of events, the location of the room was no secret. Everybody supposedly knew where it was. Yet in this retelling, Diddy stays put, calm and waiting, right when everything's about to go down. It's being pushed online as straight facts, but let's be clear, this is an accusation, not verified evidence. Still, the claim itself hits hard. People are saying he had awareness that something was about to happen, gave no warning, made no move to stop it, and that's exactly why many believe the documentary stayed quiet about it. From there, the focus shifts into motive and personality, and this is where things get real personal. The version being talked about online paints Diddy's tension with Tupac as something that wasn't just about rap or fame, but about women. They say Tupac had this natural magnetism, walk into any room and instantly all eyes were on him. Meanwhile, Diddy, in this retelling, had to lean on money and status to get that same kind of attention.
Be idolized a motherfucker, he idolized Tupac because you gotta realize when a woman looked at Tupac, they probably wanted him. Puff wasn't getting that type of fever from girls. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had to use his money, Puff had to use his position in order to get women. Now, I seen him with some bad joints, and I used to look at them like this, like, not on no hating shit, but like, you wouldn't be here if he wasn't puffed.
A quote that keeps popping up from these conversations is, "I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know how to talk to girls." That's what people say Diddy once admitted. The way it's framed makes it sound like jealousy, pure personal jealousy that kept building and turning into quiet resentment over time. Then the story pivots to something even wilder, the money angle. And this part isn't being described like some random internet rumor. It's being told like something someone actually witnessed. The setting, 112th Street, two guys sitting on a stoop, one of them being Eric Zip Von Zip. According to the story, Von Zip pulls up, showing off a brand new car, looking proud like he's making a statement. Then he flashes a check, not just any check, but $1 million check. And here's where things really start connecting. The check was supposedly from Barry Hankerson and Jimmy Henchman, both tied to Blackground Records. It's being described like that check wasn't just money, it was a trophy, a flex, and maybe even a key piece in a much bigger picture. Timing is everything, and this story hits right after Tupac's death. That's when the so-called money trail starts to take shape. And this isn't about cash getting passed in some dark alley. It's about a check, a real one that went through banks, got deposited, and left behind a paper trail with signatures, processing logs, and endorsement records. People digging into this say the challenge is simple: trace it. If anyone really wants the truth, the paper should tell the story. Then another name pops up: Kirk Burroughs, the former president of Bad Boy Records. He's being described as the kind of guy who kept everything documented with notes, ledgers, and receipts stacked high. According to what's being said, Kirk once mentioned paying for people to drive out to Las Vegas right around the time Tupac was killed. Even though not every detail in this version is confirmed firsthand, the message behind it stays loud. If those records exist, the truth could literally be sitting on paper waiting to be read. So that's the big question. Will anyone ever dig deep enough to uncover those files? Or will everything stay locked away like it's been for almost 30 years? Now the story flips. This is where we enter the Biggie chapter, and it shifts from money trails to warnings and movements. The setup places Gene Deal himself right there on the scene the night Biggie was killed, and his version of the timeline doesn't match the clean, polished story most people grew up hearing. Gene's telling paints a darker picture. He says the warnings started coming in that same night. A call supposedly came from someone known on the street as Unique, real name Worth Hall, who at the time was locked up in a federal prison in Colorado. The story goes that a call managed to slip through and only 2 chilling words were heard: "Vest up." Then the line went dead. The explanation people keep sharing is that it was likely a 3-way call, which prison systems automatically detect and cut off mid-conversation. Still, that moment, those 2 words hang heavy in this story, because if it really happened, it means someone tried to warn them before the chaos hit the streets that night. A follow-up call comes in to the woman who helped connect that first message, and she confirms it. It really was unique from Mecca Audio. Then another warning drops through her, even more direct this time. They're coming out. They're coming to get y'all. That's when things start heating up fast. Security instantly becomes the main concern. Kirk Burroughs gets contacted, and more protection gets requested. But what they had was barely anything. Just 4 security guards total for Diddy, Biggie, and the whole crew. People say that was way too light for the kind of energy circling around them at the time. Then comes the shocking part. No extra security was approved. Despite all those warnings, they still moved the same way. And just when you think it couldn't get more intense, another warning comes through. This time from Chaz Williams. Same message, same urgency. They're coming for y'all. From there, the reasons for the beef start stacking up like a timeline of tension. There's talk about what really happened to Jake Wolf, a phone call Biggie allegedly made that somehow led to the Winter Bagel in New York getting shot up, a separate conflict involving a Muslim guy and an argument at the Soul Train Awards, plus non-stop street rumors linking sets, crews, and affiliations after Tupac's death. The danger wasn't just talk, it was real.
And my man Boom Dang, AKA my man Slick, a check for $1 million. We don't know, and everybody trying to say, lying, talking about half of it got paid, 500. I don't know. I know when I asked him about, we asked him, do we ask? No, we didn't ask him. I know when he showed us the check and he walked away after he showed us the check for the $1 million, you understand? I asked Boom, I said, yo, Boom, when did he get a record label? He said, you know how Zip is. I said, when did he get a Zip record label? Zip had a check for $1 million. He said he got it from Barry Hankerson and Jimmy Henchman for his record label, Black Ground Records. So now, if that's true, we know Jimmy Henchman and Puff was cool. You should be able to trace $1 million if that's the truth. If that's the truth, you should be able to.
The story then moves to Andre Harrell's house, where Diddy was staying at the time. A small but weirdly memorable detail slips in. Diddy walking down the stairs wearing a white Beverly Hills hotel robe, and people joking that it looked like it was stolen. But that quick laugh fades fast because the next part gets serious again. Gene Deal says Diddy looked straight at him and said, yo, I got intel. People are gonna come and try to kill us. You'd think that would set off alarms, but the reaction, as described, was total dismissal. Diddy supposedly said, I don't want to hear that, brushing it off completely. Then came the cold response, you ain't gotta go if you don't want to go. And just like that, they walked out. The next key detail comes from Clark Kent, the legendary DJ and former VP at Motown Records, who was in Biggie's room the night before. According to what's being said, the party at the Peterson Automotive Museum wasn't some random Hollywood get-together. It was set up. Biggie reportedly told people, D-Rock and Puff set this party up for me to go to, and that's exactly where the night turned dangerous. Outside, people said the vibe was tense, high alert, bloods in the mix, and someone spotted holding a weapon behind their back, the kind of moment where everyone feels something bad is about to go down. Then comes the part nobody forgets, the car scene. Gene Deal's version paints it like pure chaos from the jump. There's resistance getting in the car, voices rising, and someone snapping back, how you gonna tell me how to do my job? That's when the threat drops. Get in or lose your job at Bad Boy. And just like that, everyone piles into the vehicle. Tension already in the air. Once inside, Diddy allegedly gives a sharp command to the driver, Kenny, run the next 3 lights, don't stop for nothing. Kenny hits the gas, racing down the street. Then Tone's voice cuts through the noise saying, Big's name ain't coming across the light. Seconds later, a gun raises and the shots explode. Pop, 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 pop. 6 rounds, fast, and the car fills with panic. Kenny floors it, pushing the SUV forward while everyone's screaming, they're shooting at Big. The vehicle jerks into a U-turn. Doors fly open. Everyone jumps out, except Biggie, who's hit and slumped over.
Help law enforcement on how, if Diddy had anything to do with breaking that money up or giving that money up to him like that? Or did he use somebody else? Or did he do something for somebody else to be able to get that money for that? We don't know.
I was just about to say that too. Keefe D, he can use him for the upcoming trial.
Well, Kirk was meticulous in always keeping notes and files and things like that. But that money can't, just do a trace on $1 million check. Just do a trace on them. I want them to do it because that would prove that I saw $1 million check. That would prove. Just do a trace on it. The man dead now. What you gonna do? Do it.
Another suburban tries to chase the shooter's car, but it disappears into the night like a ghost. Then comes the moment that haunts everyone, the hospital decision. There was a hospital just 2 blocks away, 2 blocks, but instead of going there, the car drives for nearly 30 minutes. Biggie's bleeding, time slipping away, every second feeling like forever. Witnesses say someone kept yelling, "Don't let him go to sleep, keep him up." And Biggie's last words, quiet, faint, were reported as, "Just do it." The belief that sticks with people is heartbreaking. If they'd gone to the closer hospital, maybe he'd still be alive. Now the conversation shifts from who pulled the trigger to who set the stage. This part of the story isn't about pointing fingers at a shooter, it's about responsibility. The version being told argues that when you create an environment where violence can happen, when you ignore warnings, dismiss danger, and still push forward, you share some of the blame when tragedy hits. It's not saying he did it, but rather he helped build the situation where it could happen. That's the moral accusation sitting heavy under all of this. And it's being said that several people were there, each with their own small piece of what went down. But only one person, Gene Deal, is willing to speak up publicly. Stepping back, the story ties it all together. The energy, the choices, the music, everything that turned tension into a full-blown war. Even songs like Who Shot Ya, dropping right after Tupac got hit, are said to pour gas on the flames, keeping the feud alive instead of cooling it down. Refused peace talks, ignored warnings, and dangerous pride. It all became part of the storm that took Biggie's life that night. Going to LA after all those warnings wasn't just a random move. It's being described as a choice, a risky one that added even more danger to an already explosive situation. The way people tell it, violence wasn't just floating around as rumor, it was being talked about behind the scenes, and everyone knew tension was thick. That's where the big question hits again. If you help build an atmosphere where someone ends up getting hurt, and then they actually get hurt, do you share the blame? And once again, this isn't being framed like someone pulling the trigger or handing over cash. It's about cause and effect. The idea that small decisions, ignoring warnings, chasing image over safety, keeping grudges alive, created a chain reaction that led straight to tragedy. Every seed planted, every chance for peace that got shut down, every risky move, they all add up to an environment where something deadly was bound to happen. So now, everyone's asking the same thing. Why would 50 Cent leave all this out of his Netflix documentary? 3 major reasons keep getting tossed around. First, legal risk. The Keith D case around Tupac's murder is still active. When something that serious is going through court, any documentary that leans on unverified accusations could instantly turn into a legal disaster. Lawyers reportedly stepped in hard, cutting out anything that could open the door to lawsuits, defamation claims, or interference with an active investigation. They don't play around with that stuff. It's cleanup before chaos.
Could Puff have been involved in Tupac's murder or Biggie's murder?
I think that when you set up an atmosphere for something to happen, how involved are you? You set up the atmosphere. You put people in positions to get hurt. He knew that somebody was going to do something. He was told. I told him before we left. I told him. Mace told him. See, people ain't telling. See, everybody think that Gene Deal is the only one know this shit. I'm not the only one that's noticed and privy to this information. I'm the only one that's speaking on it and has spoke on it. Now, people are coming out gradually, but when Puff set up an atmosphere for somebody to get hurt and they get hurt, don't you take some responsibility for that?
Is that more tactics? He's not going to pull the trigger. He might not even pay someone to do so, but like releasing that song Who Shot Ya, that creates an atmosphere, creating certain things and planting seeds in somebody else's mind to be number one, where Tupac ends up getting killed, Biggie ends up being.
Second, credibility. 50 Cent didn't want just another messy documentary. He wanted something that lands, something people take seriously. And while Gene Deal is a strong storyteller, not everyone believes every word he says. Some fans think he's keeping it real, but others call him a conspiracy guy. So cutting it might have been a strategic move to keep the series cleaner, more professional, and harder for critics or lawyers to tear apart. And since we're talking about legal pressure, it's important to remember Diddy's team already went on the offensive. Reports say his lawyers sent a cease and desist straight to Netflix, calling the project a shameful hit piece. They even threw in accusations about stolen footage. From a business angle, adding more unverified claims could have given Diddy's side even more ammo to fight back in court. And third, money. The most simple and cold reason of all. Gene Deal allegedly wanted a serious check for his footage and stories, something he felt matched the value of what he was bringing to the table. But 50 Cent's a businessman first. If the price doesn't make sense, he cuts the deal, plain and simple. No feelings, no favors, just numbers. And while all of that plays out online, legal talk, credibility debates, money drama, there's an extra twist making the rounds right now. A new story is spreading that adds even more fire to this entire situation, and it's turning what started as a missing footage debate into a full-blown storm of questions about what really got left out and why. And here's the final twist that's got everybody talking. Word is, Diddy sent 50 Cent flowers at Club 11 in Miami, but not the friendly kind. According to what's being passed around, these weren't just party decorations, they were funeral arrangement flowers. Yeah, you heard that right. The type you send when you're sending a message, not a thank you. That detail alone has people online saying the tension between them might be way deeper than it looks. Now, before we close this out, if you're rocking with Muck Trip, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment. This channel stays locked in on everything the mainstream either edits out or buries under the rug. We bring the stories that make people uncomfortable, but also make them think. After hearing everything in this saga, it's easy to understand why so many believe Gene Deal's version. The man's been consistent for years. His details are sharp, his delivery confident, and his story hasn't changed much. But we gotta keep it real. These are still allegations. This isn't a court ruling. It's a narrative built from years of rumors, interviews, and insider talk. So listen carefully, but keep your head straight. The biggest takeaway people keep repeating is this: 50 Cent either couldn't or wouldn't include certain things in his Netflix doc. We're talking about the alleged advance warning at Quiet Studios, that mysterious $1 million check, the calls and warnings before Biggie's death, and the bigger claim that ego, choices, and ignored chances for peace created a deadly atmosphere around everyone involved. That kind of content is the type that gets labeled too risky, the kind that makes networks nervous and lawyers sweat. Maybe 50 cut it for legal reasons, maybe for credibility, maybe because the numbers didn't line up. But whatever the reason, that footage never made it into Netflix's final cut. And now, those same stories are exploding online for the world to decide. So now I gotta ask you, what do you think? Do you believe Gene Deal's account? Do you think Diddy had any involvement in what happened to Tupac and Biggie? Or do you think it's just decades of rumors catching new fire? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video, and let's keep the conversation alive. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay tuned, and stay real.